What's up guys, Intelitech Studios here, and today we're going to show you how to clean the brush roll and get all the hair off of the brush roll on your Dyson DC04, DC07, DC14, or DC33 vacuum cleaner. Now this process is very similar for other machines as well in the Dyson lineup, specifically the 4 fixed wheel clutch models, not the models with the ball, but for this demonstration, I am showing it on my Dyson DC07 all floors, as this machine I will be selling to another collector very soon, and I want to clean up the brush roller so that way it looks nice before I send it off. So, in order to clean up the brush roll on your Dyson, you need two things. Number one, you need a coin in order to actually open up this bottom plate and remove it, and you need a pair of scissors. You could theoretically use a knife, but based on the scar that I have right here, I would highly suggest against doing that, as you could potentially injure yourself. So there's three little tabs right here on the sole plate. On my model, these are yellow, but they'll be color matched to your variant. And we're just going to take a coin. In my case, I have a quarter. And we're just going to turn these counterclockwise a quarter turn. And you want to use a coin, you don't want to use a screwdriver, as you can see the previous owner did use a screwdriver on this one and kind of tore it up. So if you do strip these out, then you're not going to have a fun time trying to get the sole plate off. So once we turn all three of these, we can just lift the plate straight up and off the machine. Now on some variants of these, this gasket right here will sometimes fall out, and if this gasket does fall out of this housing, then you want to get some sort of either your pair of scissors or your coin, and you just want to push this gasket back in and make sure it's in all the way, because this does do part of the seal on the base plate. If it comes off onto the base plate, you want to make sure that it's in this little groove right here, this little black gasket. So now that we've done that, we can see there's a good amount of hair wrapped around here, and we're just going to take our pair of scissors and start cutting off a lot of this hair. Now, this is going to be relatively self-explanatory, but in this case, this hair has built up a good amount on this brush roller, so it's going to take a lot to get all this hair off. So, but since this is a lot, generally, if your brush roller looks like this, then you probably are waiting too long to clean the hair off your brush. Generally, you should do this about every 6 months at the latest, but I'd recommend doing it about every month. Now, I personally clean my brush rollers every time I vacuum, because every time you vacuum, there's only going to be a few wrapped around. It's easy to just grab it real quick and throw it in the trash. Or failing that, I recommend cleaning this off every time you empty your bin and wash your filter on your Dyson. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get the rest of this. You want to be careful, and you don't want to actually either cut yourself or cut the actual bristles on the brush roller off, but you shouldn't have that problem. Okay, so we started to cut this. Again, if it's really thick like this, then you're going to have to cut this a good number of times to get all the hair off, but you're just going to do this and cut along here. And you're just going to pull this hair off. Now again, in this case, it's very, very tightly on here. And there's some strings and stuff as well. That will definitely make this process a little bit more tricky. But again, you just want to be careful. You want to make sure that you're not cutting the bristles of the brush roller. You can see once you get an initial cut, you can mostly start tearing this off. This is going to be a little bit gross. You want to be careful because these bristles are very sharp and you could potentially cut yourself or poke your finger on these bristles. These are a nylon material and they're rather stiff. So you want to be careful. You don't want to injure yourself trying to clean out your vacuum. If this isn't something that you want to do or that you're comfortable doing, then take it to your local vacuum shop and they can do this for you. Of course, that'll cost you more money than if you do it yourself, but you do have other options as far as getting your Dyson nice and cleaned up. Now, the one nice thing about these earlier Dysons is that this brush roller is a relatively flat design, so it is a little bit easier to pull hair off of this because of the flat design, so you can run your scissors along it and it's relatively simple. as long as you're careful about it. But once you make your initial few cuts, this actually isn't too bad. Now I'm just going to show this on this side first, since it's the easiest to get to. And to show you, this is pretty much the worst case scenario as to what you would see on your Dyson. There's a lot of hair here. So if your Dyson is anywhere near this bad, then yeah, this will show you exactly how this process would be. And if your vacuum doesn't have as much hair on it as this machine does, then you're probably, by the time that I've said all this, you're probably already done. But it just depends on your machine. If you have a lot of long hair, if you have a lot of people in your house or pets in your house with very long hair, then you want to make sure to keep this clean more frequently, as leaving this hair on here could potentially cause damage to the belt or the brush roller. And especially strings, floss, that sort of thing. Hair is one thing, but there's a lot of other things that you shouldn't be picking up with your vacuum that a lot of people do, and those get stuck in here. Things like zip ties, rubber bands, hair ties, you know, going back to the long hair thing. If you have a lot of people in your house with long hair and they use a lot of hair ties, and one of those get dropped on your floor and picked up by your Dyson, you might find it in this section of your vacuum. So I think I've kind of gotten the main point out of the way. So you can see I've got this side mostly cleaned up. Once you really get it, it's just a matter of kind of pulling everything off with your fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other side. Actually, I'm going to get this side that's really close to the belt right here, because this is going to be really tricky. You don't want to slip and accidentally tear up the belt. And if you're at the point where the hair is actually underneath the belt, then you're going to have to change the belt. Although changing a belt on a Dyson is not very easy. Unless you live in the UK and you have one of the Dyson models that has a normal belt instead of a clutch mechanism, then if you have one of those, then the process is still going to be difficult, but it's going to be a lot easier. But here in the States, the vast majority of Dysons of this design and of this model, you know, the DC07, DC14, DC33, all have the clutch mechanism, which is that little knob on the front that lets you shut off the brush roller for bare floors. And that does complicate the belt change process. I may do a video later on how to do that, but in the meantime, I will drop one of those videos in the description in case you need to do that while you're in here. But again, that's a lot more complicated. And for that, if it's your first time, you may want to take this to your local vacuum shop or to your local neighborhood vacuum technician, which, if you live in my town, is probably me. So anyways, that's pretty much just the main point of this. You can see there's some strings in here that I've got. So I'm actually going to pause the video, clean up the rest of this, and show you what it should look like once it's completed. Okay, so now all the hair is off the brush, and yeah, look at that. That is just ridiculous. It's like, it's ridiculous. So that's a lot of hair. Too much hair, frankly. And that is that. So we got all the hair off the brush. Now, in the case of this Dyson, like, look, the brush roll is spinning. The belt is not spinning at all. This belt is completely shot. And you're going to have to, in the case of this Dyson, the entire clutch mechanism is going to have to be replaced. Now, again, I can't show that right now because I don't have a replacement clutch in stock right now, but I can do a video on that later on whenever I do get a replacement clutch in stock. I can show you how to do that, but in the meantime, I will drop another video on how to replace the clutch in the description from another YouTuber, coincidentally the one that is actually getting this machine. So, this is Intelitech Studios signing out. I'll see you guys in no, we're not done yet. Sorry about that. After we move this gross hamster out of the way, we obviously have to put the base plate back on. So, just going to line this up and push it down into place. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but you want to make sure that each one of these little tabs pushes in place. You want to make sure this sits on here flush. There we go. We're going to take our coin and we're going to turn it a quarter turn clockwise on all 3 of these tabs. Just like that. There we go. And now the brush roll is completely clean. And now we have a some sort of small poodle to dispose of. But anyways, this is Intelitech Studios signing out with my very quick tutorial on how to clean out the brush roll on your Dyson DC07, and this process is identical for the Dyson DC14, DC33, and DC04 as well. So anyways, if you found this helpful, then hopefully that is good. And I will see you guys in the next video, or if you're just stopping by, then thank you for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, be sure to like it. And if you didn't like it, then be sure to tell me why in the comments below. Anyways, this is Intelitech Studios signing out. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you all have a good one. Peace.